How's it going, folks? Welcome back to the channel. Keith here from Commander Hoop Celtic. I'm here with Liam Christie. Relation to Ryan Christie, hopefully one day.
Hopefully.
We're here. We're here to talk about obviously the reaction to the game tonight against Hamilton at home, the 2-0 victory, and then other stuff we're going to discuss as well tonight. I hope you're doing well. So we obviously started off. What do you think of tonight?
Yeah, I thought it was a well composed victory. I mean, the two finishes were really good, just standard finishes from Griff and Eddie. I just think that we could have scored more goals because we had more opportunities, but we've got to be more clinical in finishing, I think. But apart from that, I'm happy with the 3 points.
Definitely. Well, 75% possession, which should be expected at home against a team that's down the bottom of the league. Most important thing tonight was the link-up play between Edouard and Griffiths was immense. Very similar to when we played them over in Hamilton. Very similar to that. Lee Griffiths going, obviously, in the 11th minute was a cracker outside the box. And then, obviously, he took the top out for his cousin Liam. That's that he passed away a few days ago. So we thought so with the Griffiths family, with Aaron, Lee, his mum Gloria, and the far relations as well. Obviously, with Oya playing right back was quite good tonight. You wouldn't even think Jeremy Frimpong's gone.
Yeah, I think I really put himself about a bit. I mean, anybody that tried to get near him, just shoved him off him and then just kept running. And I was really impressed with the crossing inside the box tonight. I mean, I got a couple of good crosses in. Ellen Lucy done really well as well. I would say Sorrell deserved his man in the match. He did throw himself a bit, in the middle and broke up play at points. So I think Sorrell, he's definitely a regular start in the first team now, definitely.
100%. And even Scott Brown did say last week that it is going to be a case that Sorrell is going to be taking the reins over from in that position. And he's just established. You could see him there. He just takes down everything. And then to confirm I was a daft about man of the match around the 88th minute. So I was delighted with Sorrell's performance. I was delighted with McGregor's performance as well. His chances were, he done quite well. Like we had 7 shots on target tonight. I said Mohamed Anusi played quite well. We got to see the likes of Christie come on, Yeti come on, and then Tom Rogers came on as well. Yeah, what do you make of? Go ahead.
No, I think that Tom Rogers, he needs more time in the pitch. So, I mean, the 2 minutes he came on, I think I should have put on for about 10 minutes, to be honest, or 20.
See, the thing with Tom Rogers is it means that when will Turnbull get the full 90 minutes? Do you still keep going what you're doing? Do you give Turnbull 60 minutes, 70 minutes, and then bring Rogers on?
Yeah, I would say so, because Rogers, I mean, he's shown before that he's not a 90-minute player. So if you were to give him a good 20 minutes to 30 minutes on the pitch, then we can see what he's all about, and that can get him the game time required.
Exactly. Definitely. Well, I have to say, Duffy and Beaton played quite well. I know Duffy gave a nice over the ball top to Griffiths, and then obviously Griffiths was unfortunate not to score from. But Griffiths played well tonight. I have to say, he played quite well. Edouard, the spells that was in the game, was like, is he ever going to score tonight? And then he took his goal quite well. Like Hamilton, towards the last 20 minutes, he did put a bit of a threat on us. But Scott Bain, clean sheet.
Yeah, he done really well picking up the ball from set pieces. I mean, I noticed that we're a bit more switched on when we've got set pieces put against us. I noticed that tonight, so they obviously worked in training, and we've obviously got to put ourselves a bit, make sure that we're defending set pieces and we're consistent every week in doing it. That's the main thing we've got to work on.
Yeah, someone saying there that a lot of people are giving Duffy stick on Twitter, but I think he played quite well tonight. It's a clean sheet. We shouldn't be complaining about the defence. We didn't give away stupid tackles tonight. There was no bookings from the team. There's a lot of positives. I know it's the team that's fighting for the life at the moment, but you got to take every game as it comes, regardless who the opposition is, because that's what's happened this season in the first part of the season, where we were taking the smaller teams for granted, and that's why we dropped them points.
Yeah, I think that when you look at, did you see that punch by Scott Bain when he punched it out during the set piece? I think that he shows you that. I mean, he'll pick up a ball. He won't
Yeah, free kick. Even when he went down for it as well. There was a part when he went in and he went down for it. He still got the free kick out of it.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't mess about. He will give you he's only had, that's 2 clean sheets out his 9 appearances. I think it's 9 appearances this season, but still, I mean, it's a clean sheet for him, and it shows that it does show that he's consistent, in goal. He's got international experience as well. So is Barkas, right enough, but he's even Lennon says.
We were laughing the other night when Barkas said Bain in goal, and we were like, Bain won't play in goal. But look, it's obviously the jerseys for either one of these 3 keepers to get it, and I think it's a bit of a bizarre situation for him because that's to show how much mess ups has happened during the season,
Yeah, I think that you need to have your keeper. You need to have you need to decide who your keeper is, like the first half of the season, because I mean when near enough the last half of the season we're still not decided who our first choice keeper is, and it's just a bit crazy because I think that losing the big man Fraser Foster, I think that's kind of put shit into perspective when we were kind of rushing buying somebody about 5 million and going, okay, he'll do.
I can't see us strengthening with a keeper in the summer. I think they're going to stick by this regardless who the manager is. I think they will stick by it. It could have been 2-0 tonight within the first 20 minutes when Griffiths the ball was crossed over. You were saying the crossing tonight was immense, but Griffiths didn't capitalise to it. But look at people are expecting 4 or 5-0 tonight. It's at the end of the day, it's all about 3 points. We looked quite comfortable in the first half, pressing up, comfortable football.
Yeah, I wouldn't even care if it was 1-0 now. See, as long as we've got the 3 points, then that's all that matters. Sometimes we've had to win ugly in the past and get the 3 points, so it doesn't matter who we're playing against as long as we're winning.
I think this season's going to be winning ugly, to be honest, just to cement that second place at this rate. We were expecting Hibs to go and do a favour tonight in Easter Road. They were unfortunate. Obviously, that should have been sending off to Morelos. So, look, it needs to be investigated. But we're not going to dwell on that too much because that's a different game. It's not the Celtic game, but it just shows the corruption with referees in Scotland.
Yeah, to be honest, they're not really hiding it, but during half-time there, I seen the analysis from Chris Boyd. He even admitted it was a red card. And, it's not too often I agree with anything he says, but if he's admitting it's a red card, then there's got to be questions answered. Maybe a 3-game ban, but I can't really see him getting a ban for that, but they've got to do something.
That's it. When the guys put this up, are we still all dead over Frimpong? To be honest with you, if he's not happy at the club, when Lennon said the press conference yesterday, leave him off. He's not a right back defender. I'm more concerned about Al-Hamid, what the situation is with him.
Well, basically, I think did Al-Hamid not have a kind of clip for an injury or something, and then he must have took a while recovering in training. But the thing with Frimpong is, it's good business. I mean, I don't know what the actual fee was, between 10 and 11.5 million, but it's good business that he's actually signed for another team, and we've got a bit of money for him,
So what do you think of that? Centre backs need a keeper they can trust behind them. Only Bain's given that this season. Look at Barkas has had a few clean sheets in there. Hazard doesn't feel comfortable coming out in some games, as we talked about the Hibs game a couple of weeks ago. Even crossing wise, he's just not up for it. And I understand he's 21, 22 now, and he's an ordinary international, but he's getting the experience of playing 7 or 8 games for Celtic this season. And he still has made his mistakes. Time will come when Hazard will be established number 1. But I'd give him more cup run games next season, maybe towards the latter end of the season. We give him a few games. But Scott Bain will have to play number 1. Look at Scott Bain has been taken for granted by a lot of fans. We got to realise Scott Bain he was in nets for the treble. He was in nets most of
Yeah,
that season.
he was really good last season. Like he was good the last 2 seasons. I mean, he's just gained that experience. I mean, when the ball's been crossed, then he's just picked up the cross no problem. And I mean, what height is he? I think he's only about 6'1", 6'2", isn't he?
Yeah, he's small enough. But look, this is a guy that we signed. He done a medical in a Hibs tracksuit, walking up Celtic way like crazy or what? You go back to that time, and then we stuck him in nets against Rangers, pulled off a few crucial saves. You know, that save off the line. But even that game against Valencia away in the Mestalla, pulled off some wonder saves that night. Fair enough, we went out of the Europa League, but unbelievable. Yeah, there you go. Best display in Valencia. Someone's at the sign of just there. But yeah, definitely. But look at fair play to Lee. Lee got to go. We just need to see more Lincoln play. He needs to play him. It still pisses me off that he's still not a full 90-minute striker yet.
Yeah, he's saying about they're saying about he's not fit enough and stuff, and then in the conference
Like,
when
we're only 8 months in now to the season, and he's still not fit enough.
yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, if a player's not playing enough, then obviously that's going to put a dampener on the spirits, and always doing this training. It's just getting the same thing and out, you know. And he's just like he's not, his confidence gets shattered if he's not playing enough, you know. And that's what happens to a lot of players, especially strikers.
Well, Mick was saying, is this the way? Is the way? What's going to happen now? Like he's saying, look at with Rogers leaving a couple of years ago. Like Celtic, every Celtic fan can admit that we have dropped off the pace. Yes, we've won trophies in this term, but we've dropped off the pace. We're not nurturing young players coming through. We're not developing players. Lennon's just stuck to his guns, and that's it. He doesn't give you.
I would agree with that.
Look at what Ronnie Doyle done. Ronnie Doyle gave the likes of McGregor a run. He gave Tierney a run. And what success they've been.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there'll be a few young players in that, such as Scott Robertson. I mean, when he comes back from loan, he's going to be a good player for us, and they should use him. They should use him a lot more. Especially, they should start using him in cup games next season.
Robinson's back from Gillingham already. We called him back already. We called him back last week.
All right. So
yeah, I know. It was a quiet one. I know. Only for a Gillingham page got in touch with me and said it to me. But people asked me about the thoughts and Griffiths comments. All I can say is move on from it, because he's obviously not going to speak bad about the club when he's employed with the club. So he's obviously going to stick up for the club and saying, I understand he said some Celtic fans are short memory. You know, they're looking at what's going on this season, because they have the right to look at what's going on this season. They pay big money, and they're not in the stadium. They're not getting a voice point across. I don't even think, it just feels like social media is not even a tool towards the club, because the club are not listening anyway.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the fans not being in the stadium, I think that gives them an advantage, because they don't need to listen to anything in the social media. They'll be looking at what's going on in social media, but they will only be the players and the coaches, and they'll just be trying to do their job and to the best of their ability. But at the same time, the product on the park hasn't been good enough this season, and a lot of fans have every right to voice their frustrations.
For example, we have a good promising youth player coming through in World Football. Everybody in World Football. He's the most following of the Celtic contingent on social media. Young Dembele, Karamoko, and Lenny is only played him 3 or 4 times. So that's the show that Lennon's stubborn.
Yeah, I think that there's been quite a lot of transfer talk about him wanting to play his football elsewhere, which is a bit of a shame. It reminds me of that young boy that had Islam Farouk. It's kind of similar in that way, because he ended up going to Chelsea. He wasn't playing for Scotland internationals anymore,
This
And
this is this is a lad that Tommy Bones put a lot of praise into to be the next best thing for Celtic, and then obviously about a year and a half after Tommy passed away, he screwed the club over and he went. But that's just down to Celtic not giving the youth. And we talked about this the other night with the 18s and the Forlow situation. It's worrying times because, as Gaz said to me the other day, he said to me after Fringpong yesterday, he goes, Keith, we're going to look like a middle class team this season, next season going, if we don't start getting our act together and start getting players in.
well, about 2 or 3 years ago, when Brendan Rodgers was in the team, he was coaching the team. We had one of the youngest teams in the SPFL and in the country, but now we're just going for experienced players like Duffy, and obviously we kept Brown in the team, so obviously we've got quite a few older players in the team. I don't mind having older players in the team for experience, but not too much. I mean,
Yeah, but they're not like, obviously Brown's best game this season was against Hearts. That's his best game in the cup final. The rest of the season he's been shocking. He has been up to standards. Yeah, he came on against St. Johnson. He steered the ship. That was about it.
Yeah,
No,
he's not got Scott Brown's not got the legs anymore. But as I said the other night, I'd love to see him in a coaching role at Celtic, definitely, or for Scotland that matter as well. I mean, to be a good coach for Scotland as well. So
what do you think? Would you give Luke O'Connell a run in the team next season? Obviously, we're going to have
yeah,
a midfield that clear out. Like Rodgers could be gone, Brown could be gone. You bring Luke O'Connell in. You were saying young Robinson will be coming in. But this is a thing where hopefully these players can rise to the challenge that's ahead of them, because they will be. This is all eyes be on this team next season if the fans are in stadiums, or without the fans in the stadiums, to bounce back and give Rangers a run for the title next season.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'd play Luke O'Connell next season. He's been playing in the Resi games. I mean, has he not been like first name the team sheet for the Resi games? I mean, I've not followed the Resi games much this season. I'm not even sure if it's still going on this season, but last season he was playing really well in the games. I mean, I was keeping my eye on it.
So we'll go back to the Dembele situation. Dembele wants out. Dembele has. There's been rumours going around about Dembele for the last 6 weeks that he wants to move out. He wants to move away from Celtic. His contract's up at the end of the season, so we need to. If we're going to need to get something out of him, give him a new deal, pencil him down, give him a bit of football, or I'll just sell him, get the beans out of it. Because look what with Jeremy Frimpong, like was over 10 million. We still made a good bit of profit on this.
Yeah, I mean, see the thing with Dembele, right? His agent will be telling him you can play football in the Premiership, you can play football in the Championship.
Like
And saying,
Borussia Dortmund were linked with him many times.
yeah, he'll be saying that's better suited football to you because they've got good youth development camps. We have got good youth development system at Celtic, but in Dortmund and Barcelona and
Ajax and all these clubs.
yeah, Arsenal, they've got a brilliant youth development system. They've also got we haven't got in Scotland, but in England they've got basically it's just like an academy. So they've got like school teachers that teach them a secondary school and their higher education.
But you think, like we go back to the Niall McGinn situation, we didn't sign Niall McGinn, he's the one that got away. You think if Dembele is getting sold, you think he's going to be the one that's going to be got away with the potential? He could go off to Dortmund or even to anywhere in the Premier League and he hits the ground running, gets the season settled in. A couple of years later, he's banging goals in. He's valued at 30 or 40 million. And we're there looking at ourselves saying, geez, we sold him for 10 or 12 million.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we'd get that much for the boy, but like it's one of the things. It's like what could have been. I mean, we've had a few of them, in the past with Celtic, but it's just really one of these things, man. That like Peter Law loves to make money, but at the same time, while we keep in a contract in the season, I really don't know. It's all up to the agents and manager, to be fair.
That's it. Well, what we've St. Mirren the weekend, obviously the Scottish Cup being postponed, we have a chance to play our game in hand against St. Mirren. St Mirren done well. They scored 5 against Dundee United.
Yeah, St Mirren they are a really good team, and also they knocked out Rangers in the cup, the League Cup, and like the game at the weekend they were really unfortunate, but they didn't play as good as I thought they would, in the semi final. But at the same time, we could take advantage of St Mirren in that run we had tonight. So we've just got to keep a run going, take it a game at a time, just keep winning. That's all we've got to do.
So Lisbon 67 said, how can you see Dembele being any good if the dummy manager won't play him? Because scouts from all over the world have been looking at obviously playing for the youths and the Celtic Colts and stuff like that. So that's why he's still valued highly. If he goes, I think it'd be an awful disaster because, I understand the Scottish game it's tough and the pitches are shy and the weather's shy, but he's been there such a long time now. He's been at the club, 9 years?
Yeah, I would say that, yeah.
Around 9 years now. And we're not playing him. Like we obviously that time when he came on second half against Hearts and he blew them apart. And this is what Hearts were a good side as well. Like there is potential there. You need to play him in them games. Like he played him against Cluj away, and that was it. Didn't really work out for him. Didn't stand for football.
Yeah, I think that boy might be thinking about it. The Scottish game, it's one of the most physical games in the world. And you seen when Janino came down here, I mean, he was getting shoved about left, right, and centre. I mean, Dembele, he's a wee guy. I mean, he's about 5'5" or 5'6". So, I mean, he does get shoved off the ball quite a lot, but he's also got some skill. And I don't think he wants to put that skill to waste. So that's probably why he's thinking about going to Germany or the Premiership or the Championship.
I got a mail today on Instagram. I think there's a lot of shite. Some man saying, of a source that Lawwell's going to confirm Eddie Howe next week. Like, people are talking about this review situation. There should have been a bit of clarity. I think with Neil Land's press conference yesterday, it shows that he doesn't give a shit. He does not give a shit what's going on. Like, they were saying, like, what do you think of, obviously, people talking about other managers coming in? He goes, well, that's just the nature of football management. When results are not going your way, when you're not performing well that season, there's always going to be managers and players linked with the jobs to go into clubs. And he's like, I just have to get on with it.
Well, there's not really much he can say because we have had a shite season, and nothing he says in a press conference is going to change the way we think at the moment. All he's got to do is keep on showing us in the park that he can get a team, he can give a team confidence to win games because that's his job as a manager. So we've won 2-0 tonight, and all we can do is get a run from that. I'd like to see us go on a run from when we did in December. We had a good run of winning games. We've got to do that. It's just the draws that have messed us up. And we've only been beat twice off them, and it's just the draws that have built
It's
up.
still hurt, wasn't it, that we could go on an unbeaten run for the rest of the season, play them twice, and it could be 8 points in it, 9 points in it at the end of the season. And you look back to the Aberdeen draw and the draws at Kilmarnock, Ross County and all, St Johnson, and that will hit us in the foot. That was hit us in the foot big time.
Yeah, if we go on a win and run the end of the season and beat them twice, I'd be more than happy with that, and hopefully other teams do us favours. But it's a big ask, and there's not going to be a lot of teams that are going to do us favours just because it's us, so that won't happen. But I mean, we can only hope.
That's it. Well, look, it's in my voice and a lot of voice. The league's over. You just gotta take every game as it comes and put the hoops on, and support them, and hope you just get a result. Because if you don't get the result, you're just gonna get.
Oh. Don't think I can hear you, mate. He's gone. I don't know. We seem to be having technical difficulties. I'll just keep on talking shit till Keith comes back on. Okay. All right. Right, we should be back in about 5 minutes, folks, right?
Folks, I don't know what happened there. The internet went off, so I'm back again. Anyways, I hope to get Liam back in. I'll just have a chat just through this. So yeah, hold on. At the stream. Are you there, Liam? Are you there? Anyways, I'll go through the comments while I have you there because the internet went off. So what a result tonight. Good comprehensive results. Obviously, Lee Griffiths scoring, Edouard scoring, the top two scoring. So clean sheet. Sorrow man the match. The only thing I would say is we need more fitness out of David Turnbull. It will come. It eventually will come. Scott Bain getting a clean sheet. Duffy playing well. We literally can't complain whatsoever. Regards to this, just keep the comments coming through, Tim's. Keep them coming through. Let's have a look at this one now. The interview made me cringe, and finally the results nonsense. Look at it's mad to think that we're like this with Bain at the moment. Yeah, I don't know what happened there, Liam. The internet must have dropped on my side.
Yeah, it's all right. 2 seconds, man.
Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm just putting my camera myself. I was wondering what the hell was happening there. Right, hold on. Right. Hello?
Sorry about that, Liam. I went off again. The internet keeps dropping. I do apologise for the 20 people that are watching. Poor bad Wi-Fi. But these things happen.
No, see when you cut off there, man. I was just by myself, and remember that guy. You remember that film Waynesworld where Garth's just by himself, and he's like nervous as fuck. It was kind of like that.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
But I mean,
just blocking a few gobshites anyway. These typical feckers that come in and think they're funny, you know. That's it. So, dream replacements for Cleardo this January and the summer, lads. I think Scott Brown will move on. I think Ira will move on. Ira, as much as we're gonna miss Ira. I think he obviously has the leadership there to be a captain. Julian, I don't know. I don't think he's played enough football this season for him to get the MILF. You know, and the likes of Rodgers will move on. Mohamed Anusi will go back to his lonely club. Laxall will go back. We'll have to see. Who do you think will move on?
I think I think Edouard will move on at the end of the season. I think we'll have Scott Brown in a coaching role, obviously. I think Duffy will be away. I can see Aja being away. I think Aja will be away as well, to be honest, because there's been some sides looking at him because he has a big unit and there's quite a lot of sides that will be interested in him, I think.
Definitely. So the team should be built around Soro and Turnbull. Look, 100% agree with that. I've seen many podcasts saying that as well. Okay, Turnbull's here in a long-term deal. Soro signed last January. He's a year in the club, so you build around them. You know, Turnbull's at the scoring some good goals already this season. Soro scoring that crack against Dundee United. But there's question marks if Callum McGregor will be here next season. I think he will. I think he will stay for another season. I don't think the club are going to...
I don't know what's happening with Cal Mac. I mean, I don't know if he's played too many games for internationally and for club. But I've seen a couple of bits of magic from him tonight. But I'm hoping he gets back to the form we're used to seeing him at. But I seen a really stupid question there today on Instagram. Who's better, Marapchik or Cal McGregor? I'm like, obviously Lubelman. I mean,
it was not Petrov.
Was it Petrov? Oh, yeah, it was Petrov, man. I just
that was me that put that up because you look at he's won 14 honours. He's played 300 odd games for Celtic, and plus he scored over 50 goals for Celtic and 62 assists. So the stats tell everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I just love Petrov, man, just because.
I love Petrov. Petrov's my favourite player of that generation that we had.
I would say. I like
just to see. But let's look at this one from Davy Boy Clan. Oyer's given 100%, even after the speculation. He hasn't drowned his tails, unlike Eddie, Nacham, and Christie. Christie spells he has been all right in a couple of games, and the champ's been absolutely poisoned when he's played. Obviously giving away penalties and all. Edouard, fair enough, he scored tonight. He scored last month against Dundee United. Still not the Elton Edouard that we expected.
I think that Edouard's is going to go in a spell of games where he will score in every game, but I think that he realises, right, I'm not going to get sold in January, so I might as well play for good for the rest of the season and hopefully get the move during the summer. So he's going to try and get stock up because you could tell tonight he was getting more involved than he usually has been.
That's it. I just want to say to people that are watching on YouTube and Twitter, if you subscribe to the channel, the YouTube channel, we're going for 5k. So don't be daft. Give a likes on the video or give it a thumbs down. Any bit of feedback will be perfect. You know, even a comment below after. If they appoint a new manager, McGregor will stay. I agree with that, but it depends on the caliber of the manager, doesn't it? So what he's going to bring to the club.
Yeah, different managers have different styles. Or what footballers they want, you know.
Like a Jack Ross. Like I can't see him staying if Jack Ross comes. Eddie Howe, yes. I don't know if you've seen the picture of Frank Lampard with all the Rangers fans with Manchester.
If Frank Lampard came in to be a manager, I can't see it, but I wouldn't have a problem with it. I mean, he's still a manager that's been
hasn't done enough. Yeah, he's fair enough. He's managed a big club like Chelsea, but he still hasn't done enough in regards to CV. I wouldn't touch him. You know, I wouldn't touch him. Wouldn't touch him. Wouldn't touch Roy Keane. We're not going for what they've done as players. We're going for what they've done as a manager, and that's where I think that's where Celtic have to learn with Neil Lennon. We took him in. What he done as a player. Yes, he won a couple of titles, but his second term around, what did he have between that? Hibs and Bolton didn't work out for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of people that said that Neil Lennon, he's Celtic through and through, yeah, but I mean, you need a calibre manager that's going to. I mean, Lennon himself has admitted that strategically, like tactics wise, he's not that good. Like when he's been coaching, but to influence players, like that's what he'll do. Like in each game, and you'll sometimes his lineups this year have been questionable, especially with the European games. A lot of people have had raised eyebrows regarding his lineups, but I think
even the changes. Look at the Ferencváros. He left it too late to change that around second half. But people are saying, look at Steven Gerrard, saying it. Look at him now. Yeah, but it took him 2 years. But we're to being the champions. Like they knew they were in a rebuilding structure. We need to bounce back, and we don't have that time. We should be going for that type of standard. We should be going for people that actually knows the game, that's managed, have a CV. Not as players, they won't like. No disrespect to Frank Lampard, but he's not a fit for Celtic, I don't think.
I think that
I think we're comparing this Gerrard Lampard nonsense. That's not. We shouldn't be going on that road.
Yeah, but that's what Peter will be thinking. He'll be thinking about money with if he was to bring Lampard in, because he'd be like, old rivals, Lampard and first Gerrard. Like, he'll just be thinking about the money. He won't be thinking about as well as what we do in the pitch. He would just be thinking about the money and the rivalry, because that's what it says. Puts Arsenal in the seats. But I mean, the Rangers and Celtic game, like a derby, that's what puts Arsenal in the seats. No some stupid rivalry for years ago.
Steph is saying, this is Steph from Instagram. How's it going, man? Even if we win, or we were done 10 in a row, unlikely, it's impossible. The first 11 is going to be in eight different directions in May anyway. I agree with you, man. It's like, I think this was going to hit us anyway. Even looking when we're going into this season, that was going to be a massive clear out for the end of the summer anyway. But it's, as I was saying there a few minutes ago, it could be a case that we could go on a winning run and then play Rangers, and then the gap could be 6 points and hoping, or 9 points, hoping that they drop a few points. Impossible is nothing, but I'm not that confident that we could turn this around. I just want to see us getting a settled team now for the rest of the season and not giving away stupid fouls and conceding stupid goals. That's where we have to learn, because that's what killed us this season, and dropping points to the likes of St. Johnstone and stuff like that.
Yeah, I say we just got to stay consistent, stay composed. Hopefully get 2 or 3 decent signings in before the transfer window ends in January. I mean,
well, he is say he's looking at a few more likely loan signings.
Yeah, well, more than likely be loan signings. I mean, we won't buy anybody in January. We never do. What's that?
That's it.
Just sound like a question there.
Regards to Neil Allen's legacy won't be tarnished as a Celtic manager, because, as I said before many times on these podcasts, he's won 1, 2, 3, 8 and 9, and plus he won, 3 Scottish Cups in there and a League Cup as well. So I think people need to lay off what he's done. Fair enough, this season he hasn't been up to standards, but you got to appreciate that he's brought silverware with the CV.
Yeah, last season as well, he beat Lazio whole man away, so a lot of people forget that. I mean, that's not an easy task to beat Lazio.
And they came, what was it, they finished third in Serie A? Was it third?
I think so, yeah. I think, was it not, who was it won it last year?
Juventus.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like,
Juventus, then Inter, wasn't it? Juventus, yeah. Inter, Lazio.
Because AC Milan didn't do it that well last season, but to beat Lazio home and away, and they had good quality at a time, and Cham scored the winner away at Lazio, so a lot of people forget that as well. I mean, there's obviously some stuff going behind the scenes we don't know about.
As I said, we've got to put the bar high in this to rebuild. So you look at the likes of and Eddie Howe, if he wants to come in long term, approach him. There's no harm. At least we try it. If you don't get Eddie Howe, you approach Rafa Benitez, you approach, as you said, Martin O'Neill. I don't want Martin O'Neill. You approach the likes of these people that have been in the game long enough. Ralph Rinick, as a lot of people are saying, approach him. He's done a good job. Looked at his CV, actually. He's managed over 9 teams in Germany, done well with Schalke. Got Schalke second place in Bundesliga. Was it 2004-05 season? Like, done quite well.
With Schalke.
Yeah. Hanover, he got them 2 Bundesliga 2 titles. Obviously, the league below the Bundesliga. So, like, that's an experienced coach there. There is, people are saying Bilic as well, Slavan Bilic. I don't preferably put him in my top 5. Like, but he has a good experience, obviously done with Croatia, done well with Croatia in the Euros and the World Cup. West didn't work out well at West Ham for him, done well at West Brom, getting them promoted. I felt like he got unfairly treated with West Brom, but you don't know what happens in football. People have in the past have mentioned David Moyes. I've never wanted David Moyes as the candidate at Celtic job. I know he's played for the club. He knows what the story is. But as I said, we need to move away from the relations, the Celtic relations stuff. Like, people have mentioned Henrik Larsson. I'm like, no, he hasn't done enough in the game, managerial wise. I know.
Yeah, he's not ready, Henrik, just now. But I mean, I think he will be ready in about 4 or 5 years.
But this is the argument's sake here. You got Henrik Larsson, which is number 2 to one of the biggest clubs in the world, Barcelona. And you've got Sean Maloney, that's number 2 to one of the best ranked teams in the world, international teams. And people have mentioned these names. So who would you go for if it really was? You go with Henrik Larsson, that's older than Sean Maloney, that's been around longer. He's played for the clubs like Manchester United, Barcelona, Celtic.
I wouldn't go for Sean Maloney personally, but because I don't think that he's never been one of the players at Celtic that uses his mouth, to shout, to encourage players. So that's possibly why he's number 2 at Belgium, because obviously he's used to taking commands as a player from a manager. I mean, because he's soft-spoken, brilliant player.
Yeah, but he's getting to know the players like Eden Hazard, Kevin De Bruyne, worked with company, worked with these type of players, Courtois, good players, Lukaku.
Yeah,
Vertonghen.
I think that he needs a couple more years' experience before he goes into a first team role, because he's enjoying his role at Belgium. Would you
say if he went in for Sean Maloney to the end of the season, would you give him a role to see how he gets on winning, and then think about him at the end of the season?
I think I would be 50-50 on it, but it just depends what kind of role he's offered. If he's offered first team manager over Neil Lennon, then
caretaker manager for the rest of the season. So say the review happens in the next couple of days and Lennon walks away from it, even though he said he's not going to walk away from it. Say Lennon walks away from it and they appoint Sean Maloney to the end of the season, because there's not much international football on anyway, so he could focus on Belgium and the Euros if the Euros go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
if he does well, it's like a probation job, similar to what Lennon done. Came in when Mowbray was all sour.
Yeah, I would obviously give him a chance, like most Celtic fans would. But I think that the board, I think they're going to come up with something really big at the end of the season. So because there's a lot of people but judging by Twitter, there's a lot of people have gave up their season books or are wanting to give up their season books. So I think the board are going to do what they've done with Brendan Rodgers, bring in a big name, and then season books will be bought back again.
Well, that's the argument's sake is here. We're not guaranteed that majority of fans are going to be back in next season. That's your second thoughts. The pandemic. I don't even think people are looking at it as for the sake of what's the point of me paying £400 or £500 for a season book if I'm going to be stuck at home, and it's going to be they're going to do like you pick random names of the season books to attend them games, and you have to get a pre-COVID test before, or you make sure you're vaccinated. Like, some people don't want to take the vaccination, And that's a situation we're living in as well. I look at it as a bigger perspective. If I was a season ticket holder for 20 years and this shit was happening, and you're not guaranteed that you're going to be sitting in your seat next season for the whole 18 or 19 games it is in the league, what you'd be questioning.
I can see where I come from there, because I was a season ticket holder for a while as well. I was season ticket holder for like a couple of years, and basically, obviously, I had to give up to home furnishings. But I mean, you got to do what you got to do. But when I was a season ticket holder, I was unhappy I wasn't getting some of the cup games, because I attended cup games previously, and I mean, you work hard like all week, and then all you talk about, or you go to the football with your mates. I mean, that's basically a lot of people's lives, and if that's taken away from them, then they're thinking, right, I might as well get on my season ticket, especially if I'm not going to go to games.
Right, to be honest with you, looking at, people are saying Roberto Martinez, right? Roberto Martinez is on 1.3 million a year with the Belgian national side. So, we're going in for Martinez, they're getting Maloney. But Neil Lennon's on 2.3 million. So we could afford the likes of Roberto Martinez if we really want. I would take Roberto Martinez. I think he's established. He's won the FA Cup with Wigan with a mediocre team. Done well with Everton, unfortunate not to get the top four. So I would take Martinez if it was offered.
Well, you say he's in 1.3 million in Belgium, right? See, if he's going back to football full time, I mean, that's international football. So he doesn't get as much time with the players, but if he's gone back to football full time, he'll be asking more than Lennon's wages.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll probably be asking for about 2.5 million to 3 million if he's going back to football full time. Because you think about international football for managers, it's kind of, I wouldn't call it part time, but it's not as you don't get as much time with the players training as you would if you were in domestic football.
So the people are saying there, like I was watching on the podcast the other day, but people are saying Lennon out. You're getting rid of Lennon, which I wholly believe that we should get rid of Neil Lennon. But yeah, if you're getting rid of Neil Lennon, you have to pay out Kennedy, you pay out Strachan, you pay out perhaps Steve Woods, and you're going in to get a new coach himself as well. Like, people realise that. I think that's why they're trying to hold off to the end of the season, because Lennon is on a rolling contract. So it won't cost them to get rid of, relieve Neil Lennon of his duties at the end of the season. I don't know about Kennedy, because Kennedy's been always tied to the club. And Strachan, I think Strachan's on a 2-year deal.
Yeah, I think that Kennedy they'll probably keep on, because they kept him on with Rodgers. So obviously, like, the club had basically said to Kennedy, they said at the start, there'll always be a job here for you. So I don't really know if a new manager was to come in, if he's to say, no, I'm going to bring in my own team. Because I might be our manager if it's not any allegiance to Celtic, he might just go, no, I want to bring my own team. I don't want him.
Mm-hmm. Could be that. Well, there's 65 people watching on the stream, so if you could subscribe to the channel, really appreciate it. You know, definitely. Let me see. Martinez is also free. 103 salary up. Full-time manager. Roberto Martinez won't be a bad money on after the Euros, but as I said, if we can agree a deal with one of these managers that actually are in work, get them in, at least we know we can focus. Give Sean Maloney the reins, but it just depends. Just depends what's happening. As I said, if Celtic want to look at this as a perspective, they're going to try milk the money and keep Lennon in the job until the end of the season. The review should have happened. Should have happened by now, and they said, look, Neil, it hasn't worked out. You came back from Dubai. We've dropped so many points. Time that we pay off and move on. Wish you the very best, because people have mentioned there in the comments that his legacy could be tarnished by certain fans. Some fans will scar and say he's the man that ruined 10. Some fans won't realise what he's done in the past. That will all go out the window. But we got to look at what he's done in the past as well.
Yeah.
As I said, one season shouldn't scare you. What about the rest of the seasons that you were sitting there having a few drinks, doing the huddle, singing "There's only one Neil Lennon"? Well, you look like a gobshite, won't you? If you're contradicting yourself.
Yeah, basically, like teams go through bad seasons. I mean, we've had not the best season this year, but I mean, it's always going to get better. I mean, that's what I've realised as a Celtic fan. I mean, I went through the 90s supporting Celtic when I think we were fourth in the league. I think it was 91 or 92. And I
Liam
mean,
Brady
that
time.
was, what?
Liam Brady's years.
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't, it wasn't exactly good, but
Then Lou McCarry.
During the 95 season, we won a Scottish Cup, and it was the first time we won silverware in a while, and I was really buzzing about that. So things can only get better for Celtic.
That's it. You know, you take a bad hit, you move, you get up, back up, and that's how it was. Some people are saying in the comments that some fans won't renew. There is, look, at the end of the day, there's going to be fans that are going to renew their books, and that's the source of revenue coming in. You're looking at an average with season ticket books for Celtic, an average between 20 to 25 million when it's a full season. Season books are sold. We've seen it with Rodgers and stuff like that. It was good, but they were up. Obviously, they were up the previous season as well. But the club have to do something dramatic to get these fans aboard that have the second doubts about it.
Yeah, basically that's what I was saying. I think the board's got something up their sleeve to bring fans back in, and because they'll see it on Twitter as well. That a lot of fans are going, I'm not going to bother renewing my season book next year, and there'll be a few raised eyebrows, especially from the PR department, going, right, we need to do something here, to keep fans coming in, so they've got a full house every week.
Thoughts on the rest of the coaching staff: Gordon, Gavin, and Duff. Who would you like to appoint? I wouldn't get Gordon Strachan back. I think he's past it. I think he's well past it. Damien Duff obviously knows the club. I wouldn't give him as number one. I'd rather give Maloney ahead of Duff the job. That's personally honest, which is I just wouldn't. I don't think Duff is going to come back to Glasgow anytime soon. He missed his family, he said. So I wouldn't see him going there.
Yeah, he done a really good job for us, like when he was here. But I mean, obviously, if he's homesick and he's been here for a while, when he's still homesick, then there's not really much you can do regarding if it's coaching staff or a player. If they're homesick, then they're homesick.
Well, what's going on at the moment with El Hamid as well. So the thing like El Hamid saying that he's homesick and he wants to go back to Israel, I can see El Hamid going by in the next couple of days, because we do need to strengthen right back. We have Anthony Ralston. That's not an out-and-out right back. He's only played 10 games for the club, senior games.
He played a couple of European games as well against tough competition,
PSG and stuff like that. But I think his best game for Celtic was obviously when he scored against Kilmarnock, when Tierney scored that belter in the Betfred Cup. I know he obviously played well for us against Kilmarnock as well. Him and Miller played that day as well in Rugby Park, but that's a long time ago. That's only 4 seasons ago. So we need to strengthen right back. We could go domestic. We could go. I know there's talks of, obviously we're going to get Ben Davis. We're in advanced talks of getting Ben Davis over the line. Preston North End centre back, 26 years of age. I'd be delighted to get Ben Davis in. I looked at him. Looks quite promising. Yeah,
I heard something about that, saying that they're going to get him in the summer, so they might sign him a pre-contract. So a lot of fans will be looking to maybe get a couple of tune-up signings, so maybe a couple of loan signings to the end of the season, see how they do, then maybe have an option to buy clause.
Do you think, there's a great comment there, why do you think Lennon not bring a right back here when he knew Frimpong wanted away 7 weeks ago? I think it's a case that Lennon knew that his balls were being hung there, and he knew that his job was on the line, so he was probably afraid to intervene with the board and strengthen, because he didn't know where he's going to be himself.
Yeah, there's been a few interviews he's had, and he's going, you're asking the wrong guy about my job, because I mean, he might know a couple of things, but obviously he doesn't want to assume or speculate on what's been said in the boardroom, because he might know himself. He's only training a squad of players and trying to get the best out of them. So sometimes you will get players but that don't want to play for you. But I did see a good performance tonight, so hopefully that wasn't a one-off, and hopefully we can.
That's it. Build momentum. You've St. Mirren next. You know, like there's a run of games there. We should be beating these teams, but it's Celtic unpredictable. You know, we could be going into something next Monday with a bit of EastEnders tail to it as usual. But we have 5 minutes left, folks. Get the comments in. As I said, if you are watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate this cut because there is going to be more of these podcasts coming up. Liam is going to be joining me for more of these podcasts. He joined us on Monday night. We had a good chat about other things. But if there's other topics you want us to bring up as well, drop the page of mail, the social media platforms there. So I really do appreciate you all following us on social media. Let me see what Steph has to say. Won't be surprised if Barkas got a game outfield. He doesn't like play the goal. I won't be surprised, to be honest with you. Like as I said, there's nothing too much to dwell on tonight. It's a clean sheet. Congratulations to Scott Bain. It should have happened, and he should be getting a clean sheet. Congratulations to the defence. They played quite well. There was no bookings. There was no silly errors. You know, a couple of ropey bits in the game in the second half. The foot went off the pedal, but we played well. Our front two scored. Our midfield by demanding.
Yeah, I'm really happy with the result. I didn't expect there to be too much fireworks tonight. I just was thinking, just get that win, no messing about. I just think that it gives, because if we were to get that win, even if we were to get 1-0 tonight, it still leads on to more wins for more future games coming up, especially the game we got against them. So basically, if we can win every game until the next Glasgow derby, then it'd be brilliant.
That's it. You just got to take every game as it comes. I think that's what happened this season. Celtic fans were getting ahead of themselves before even that ball was kicked, because what we've accomplished in the last 9 years, you thought we were going to just win 10 in a row. And you know what? Rangers came out and they came out stronger. You know, they've took every team very serious, like a cup final, and they've got there, and we shot ourselves in the foot, and we didn't take every team serious. So they deserve the league this season. And as much as some Celtic fans be stubborn saying, nah, they don't, they're cheats in this, but they won games. We didn't have an out 11 what we could come out and put out every week in, week out. It took us till December, the end of November to start December, to actually pick a solid midfield that we're going to play. That's not even a full midfield. I've
noticed that for players, some games they run about with that as if the heats were cut off. I just think that they should show a bit more urgency like they did tonight. I mean, they weren't messing about tonight. They were making dummy plays, and they were also making runs down the wing, crossing the ball into the box. So that's what I've been asking for all the season. So I'm happy with that.
Right. So keep reading about the club in this bad run. Lawwell has done a great job on the commercial side, which he has, as I mentioned. Like, at the end of the day, who would have thought we would have went nine league wins in a row? We would have won Scottish Cups. We got into the Champions League multiple times. Yes, we failed in the Champions League the last 2 or 3 seasons, but he has bring Celtic as a big commercial too. He's got us the Nike deal. He's got us the Adidas deal. He got us good money with New Balance. You know, like stuff like that people take for granted. You know, but he hasn't stood up for the club this season. You know, 1 or 2 statements, and that's why fans are getting irritated as well. I just think there's going to be a massive divide at the end of the season when eventually he does leave. A lot of people are going to be like, "Oh, thank fuck, he's out," and that's it. Like, if he does leave, I said I want him to move on. We need a new chief executive in that's more closer to the fans. You know, that's what we need. At the same time, he's a businessman. He's here to make money. He claims he's a Celtic fan. If he's a Celtic fan, he should have been on that Celtic way after all them after these games, when the Celtic trust are out there and saying, look, there's going to be a meeting. There's going to be a bit more clarity. See where we can go forward. You know, that's what we need.
Yeah, that's what we should have had. But his last words he spoke about during that interview he had last time That was with it was with Jerry McCulloch, who's employed by Celtic, and obviously you can tell that the questions he was asking Peter Lawwell, they were agreed to beforehand. You could tell it right off.
Exact same with the Scott Brown interview after the Ross County game. That was all scripted. But there is Champions League football next season. We finish second. We have to play 2 playoff rounds to get into the Champions League, just to establish that. Like, we obviously love to finish 4th and get us straight into the Champions League, but that's not the way it's going to be.
No, I think we've got 2 playoff rounds, right? But I think that the last playoff round, there's no chance we'll have an easy tie. We won't even be seeded for the last playoff round. We'll be up against the top class team, I think.
It'll be like a Shakhtar. Do you ever see when Shakhtar play Porto in that kind of playoff round or something like that?
Yeah, it'll be a big playoff round, I think.
It'd be similar. It'd be very similar to what happens to AEK Athens and like Ajax. They all get shafted with one of these literally knife-edge games to get in. It could happen because Celtic and the UEFA rankings have gone down, and as a lot of people are saying, their last 8 years have been awful. It's down to what you can only deal with what you have. Like, we've went that level in the league. We've accomplished in the league. We've done what we could, winning trophies and stuff. It's what you attract to the club, and what the players that we couldn't attract is down to the Champions League and the ratings. That players don't want to come to Celtic in June or July in June and start where they could have an extra month off with a Premier League team. That's what killed us. And we didn't have marquee managers. Fair enough, Brandon Rodgers got the likes of Scott Sinclair at the time. We know that Scott Sinclair was down as a big signing. I know Musa was only a young signing. We got Musa in, Colo Touré, Colo Touré coming from a team there. He finished second place in the Premier League a couple of seasons before that. Some phenomenal players with Liverpool. But the Champions League pathway has been an awful for us. We only scraped by Busheva, Rodgers' first season. Second season around, we got smashed by PSG, a FIFA score away in Paris. The third time around, we failed in that, and we got into the Europa League, scraped out that group, got beaten by Valencia comfortably, and then done well with Lennon in his last season.
I'd love to see us in a European run, whether it be Europa League or Champions League, but we've not been in the Champions League for years, and I just get into that point where a lot of Celtic fans are missing being in it. But I mean, it's going to be, I'd say, a couple of years before it, Champions League level again.
Are you worried about the end of the season with this clear out? Like, are you worried that do we even have a team to compete for Champions League qualification, though?
I wouldn't say worried. I'd say more, I'm kind of optimistic about it. I'd say that, as long as you get rid of everybody that didn't want to be there, and you've got players that want to play in the team, then I'm more than happy with that. We can just work around the players that want to be in the team. We just need a couple of leaders in the team, and we need to get rid of Duffy. He played all right today, but at the same time he looked a bit shook a couple of times, and so did Peterson. But we've got to just wait for Julian to come back, and hopefully we can keep him to the season.
It's mad to think, if you said to me when Duffy was signed that would Ambrose be more successful at Celtic than Duffy? I know obviously Ambrose was at the club longer. I mean, overall, for the big games, Ambrose looks like he's winning the race.
Hey, Ambrose, see when he was at Celtic, he won the Ballon d'Or, right? No, I mean, that was a joke. Do you ever see that joke? There was a picture of Ambrose and he was on the Ballon d'Or.
I wouldn't say it was a dreadful performance. It was a decent result. Players don't want to be there. I don't know about that. Some players did play well tonight. The whole thing is becoming embarrassing, especially when Rangers are flying. Look, Rangers have been flying since October, so I don't really care what Rangers do anymore. I really don't care. We're here to talk about Celtic anyway.
Yeah, we're just focusing on our own team at the minute because we're not exactly going through the best of time at the moment. So We just got to keep winning and hoping that teams do us favours, but we're not really asking much of teams. See if we ended up in a good winning streak and a good finish to the season, then I'd be more than happy with that.
Grant. Well, look, we're going to leave it there. It's almost coming 11 o'clock. I just want to say thank you very much for watching tonight. There was a bit of a glitch for a couple of minutes in the podcast, so if you're watching over this, and I really appreciate if you can give a thumbs up, give a comment, if you could subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to hopefully be back for Friday night. We'll talk about St. Mirren. If we don't come back on Friday night, it'll be definitely Saturday night. I'll be back to talk about the result after St. Mirren, but it won't be till later on in the day. So we'll get to hear opinions over that podcast and see what they have to say, and then I'll give my opinion. If it's Liam's available, if he's not, we'll get someone on anyway. But I just want to say thanks very much for Liam coming on tonight. Thank you very much for everyone that's watched. As I said, crucial, subscribe if you haven't, look at it's there. So I appreciate God bless, take care, and let's roll on to the next game. All the very best.